Hello, good morning all. Today we can see about internal genital organs. Okay, that is internal genital organs consist of mainly vagina, uterus, fallopian tube and ovaries. Then first of all vagina. Vagina is a fibromuscular membranous sheath and this connect uterine cavity and vulva, and this is the female copulatory organ which helps in parturition. That is, it is a birth canal for parturition, and this has the power of distance stability, and this is directed upwards and backwards, forming an angle of 45 degree with the horizontal, and this has diameter 5 centimeter in upper part and 2.5 centimeter in the lower part, and this consists of four walls: anterior wall, posterior wall and lateral walls. Anterior wall 7 centimeter, posterior 9 centimeter and two lateral walls. Then fornices. Fornices means it is a recess formed between the margin of the cervix and vaginal wall. And based on the position, we know that there are mainly four types of fornice. That is posterior, anterior and two lateral fornice. Okay, in the figure, we can see clearly this fornice. Okay, this is also fornice. Then coming to the relations of vagina. Vagina have anterior relation, posterior relation, and lateral relation. That is, anteriorly, upper one third is connected to base of bladder, lower two third is connected to urethra. Then posteriorly, upper one third is connected to pouch of Douglas, middle third to anterior rectal wall, lower third is separated from anal canal from the perineal body. The laterally, upper one third, this is related to pelvic cellular tissue, middle third to levator ani, lower third to bulbocarbonous and Bartholin's gland. Okay, this is the picture showing the different relations. Then this is the picture showing lateral relations of vagina. Then coming to the microstructure of vagina, mainly vagina is lined by mucous membrane, that is mainly by stratified squamous epithelium. Then there is submucous, then there is muscle coat and fibrous coat. And stratified squamous epithelium, and this is consist of basal cells, intermediate cells and superficial cornified cells. Then coming to vaginal flora and pH, we know that there is a special bacteria in vagina, that is Dodderline bacteria. And what is its function? That is, depend on the amount of estrogen, this will convert glycogen to lactic acid and thus maintaining vaginal pH acidic, which prevents the growth of pathogenic organisms. And this appear in vagina 3 to 4 days after birth, and in 10 to 14 days this will get disappear, and again it will appear during puberty and disappear after menopause. Then vaginal pH is normally acidic, and this will vary during different phases of life and menstrual cycle. First of all, from birth to 2 weeks, the vaginal pH will be acidic, that is 4 to 5. Then 2 weeks to puberty, the vaginal pH is alkaline, that is greater than 7. Then in the reproductive period, the vaginal pH is acidic 4 to 5. Then in post-menopause, the vaginal pH will be neutral or alkaline, that is 6 to 7. Then coming to the supply, arterial supply is through internal iliac, uterine artery, middle rectal and internal pudendal. Then venous supply is through internal iliac, internal pudendal. Lymphatics is through internal iliac, superficial inguinal nodes. And nervous supply is through pelvic plexus and pudendal nerve. Then coming to the uterus. Uterus means we know that uterus in Greek, the name is hystra, that is womb. Then uterus is a thick wall structure. It is a muscular structure having a narrow lumen, and this is situated in the pelvis between the urinary bladder and the rectum. And superiorly on each side, it communicates with the uterine tube, and inferiorly with the vagina. Then coming to the shape and size, it is a pear-shaped organ that is being flattened anterior-posteriorly, then 8 into 5 into 1.25 centimeter measurements, then weigh 50 to 80 gram. Then main parts consist of body, isthmus and cervix. That is larger upper pear-shaped part is body, smaller cylindrical, lower part is cervix, and between that there is isthmus. Okay, this is the picture showing different parts of the uterus. Then this body or corpus, that is pear shape, and it extends from the fundus to the cervix inferiorly. Then Fundus means above the opening of the uterine tube, a dome-like end is there, that is fundus, and body proper is triangular, which lies between opening of the tube and isthmus. Uterine cornua, that is uterine tubes, enter the uterus on both sides. Okay, then coming to body that extend from the fundus to the isthmus, and this contain uterine cavity. Then anterior surface consists, that is, it is covered by the peritoneum of the isthmus, and where it is reflected to the upper surface of urinary bladder, forming utrovesical pouch. And posterior surface, it is covered by the peritoneum, which extends downward to the posterior fornix of vagina, which is reflected to the anterior aspect of rectum, forming recto-uterine pouch. Then uterine cavity. Uterine cavity is a triangular slit-like, and then it consists of mainly merimetrium, myometrium, and endometrium. Then endometrium, we know it is a mucous and it is again divided into three: stratum compactum, stratum spongiosum, stratum functionalis, and stratum basalis. Stratum functionalis means it is nothing but the combinedly we are saying that is stratum compactum and spongiosum together as stratum functionalis. And what about the endometrial thickness? Then postmenopausal phase, that is post-menstrual phase, it is 1 to 3 millimeter, and premenstrual phase, it is 5 to 7 millimeter. Then myometrium is 1 to 3 centimeter thick, and it consists of stratum submucosum, stratum subvascular, supravascular, and subserosum, and periometrium is the outermost layer. Okay, this is a picture showing endometrium, myometrium, and myometrium. Then coming to cervix, we know cervix is a cylindrical and it measures 2.5 centimeter. It is bounded by internal os above and below by external os, and this is divided into two parts. That is upper supravaginal part and below, that is vaginal part. Okay, this is a picture showing the different parts of the cervix. Then cavity of the cervix, it is a spindle-shaped canal. In nulliparous woman, the external os is small and circular. In multiparous, it is large and transverse. Okay, then coming to the endocervix, this is lined by columnar epithelium, ectocervix by squamous epithelium, then squamo-columnar junction. This is seen at the external os, and cervical secretion is normally alkaline. Okay, then coming to the normal position and axis of the uterus, we know that normally uterus is situated in the position of anteversion and anteflexion. What do you mean by anteversion? That is, long axis of the cervix is bent on the long axis of the vagina at an angle of 90 degrees. This is known as anteversion. Then anteflexion means a long axis of the body of the uterus is bent at the level of isthmus. Okay, on the long axis of the cervix, forming an angle of 170 degrees. This is known as anteflexion. When fundus point towards the bladder is known as anteflexion. Angle of cervix and vagina straightened, making an obtuse angle is known as retroversion. Fundus point towards rectum is known as retroflexion. Then coming to the supports of the uterus, we know there are mainly two types, that is primary support and secondary supports. Then coming to the false ligaments and true ligaments. False ligaments consist of broad ligament, recto-uterine fold, utrovesical fold, recto-vaginal fold, and true ligament consists of round ligament, transverse ligament, uterosacral ligament, pubocervical ligament. Okay, then coming to secondary support, mainly by broad ligament, utrovesical fold, and recto-vaginal fold. Okay, then coming to the detailing, when we are dealing with the ligament of the uterus, there is a round ligament, broad ligament. Then this broad ligament mainly consists of mesoovarium, mesometrium, mesosalpinx, and then the last, that is cardinal ligament. Then relations of the uterus, anteriorly this is connected to the utrovesical pouch and superior surface of urinary bladder. That is, supravaginal portion is related to posterior surface of the urinary bladder, and vaginal portion of the surface is related to the anterior fornix of vagina. Then posteriorly, body of uterus is related to the recto-uterine pouch. Then supravaginal portion of surface is related to the recto-uterine pouch, and the vaginal portion of surface is related to the posterior fornix. Laterally, the body of uterus is related to the broad ligament, uterine artery, and vein. Okay, then arterial supply mainly by uterine arteries and mainly by ovarian artery. Venous drainage corresponds to the arteries, uterine vein, ovarian vein, which drains into internal iliac vein through uterine and vaginal vein. Lymphatic drainage, that is from fundus and upper part of the body, drains to pre and para aortic lymph node. lower part of the body to external iliac node. From cervix, this will drain into three directions: laterally to external iliac obturator node, paracervical node; posterolaterally to internal iliac node; posteriorly to sacral node. Okay, this is the picture showing different lymphatic supply. The nervous supply, this will derive from T12 and L2, and parasympathetic from H2, S4 spinal segments. Okay, this is all about uterus.